Hello, hello, hello. Sorry the light's off. My daughter took her light out of here, the big one, and to be quite honest, I just didn't feel like having a huge one in here tonight. But hey, Beatlemaniac, Rebellious, it's so good to see you. Just trying. Hey, Sandy. I know Alex was live. I was watching for a little bit, but I'm not sure if she's still live or not. Um, man, so I don't know if y'all, well, most of you I know did watch the Bills game. Obviously, you guys know most of you know I'm a diehard Bills fan. Born and raised a Bills fan, will always be a Bills fan, no matter how painful it is. But I think we can all agree that what we all witnessed last night, for anybody that may have seen the game, was downright like horrific. When I went to work today, people were talking about like I couldn't, it was just hard to sleep. It was hard for, I think, a lot of people to sleep. It's one thing to like talk about true crime here and to talk about this stuff, but to witness something like we witnessed last night in the platform, like just I don't know. It was a really wild, surreal. All right, Punkette. It's a surreal feeling for sure. Um, I think everyone was just like, "What did we just see?" You know. Hey, cool gamer, and I do know that. So allegedly, and this is allegedly, we're talking about really quick about so it does seem that well, no rest. It does seem like it may have been from the hit to the chest. So somebody explained it to me. Again, they haven't officially said this, but that it's like, I can't remember the name for it, like Komoto's cordis or something. It's like when, and several doctors said they thought it's like when you get hit in the chest. Because I didn't realize people were saying, so when you get hit in the force of these NFL players and stuff, and the way he came in to make the tackle, he was straight up. And so they said it's like sometimes these tackles are like a sledgehammer. They're so tough. And it was a clean play. It wasn't anything bad. But so you can see how he was straight up, that he must have just, it's very possible that he just hit. There's something where if you hit your chest hard enough in a certain part of the heart rhythm cycle, then it can throw rest. A lot of people are feeling that's probably what it was. Critical condition. The last I heard, allegedly, according to his uncle, but I'm waiting for verification on this, like according to his actual rep, that DeMar is still on the ventilator, but he's only using 50% of the oxygen. And if that's true, that'd be phenomenal. But the thing I worry most about, and I think the thing that, they're thinking the most about is like brain activity. He was down for a really long time. So we'll see. I think if anything last night, what we learned was that sports is truly just sports. And I think the whole nation really came together to process and deal with what, I don't know, everyone witnessed. And it's very cool that his charity raised is up to, I think, like $4.5 million right now. So it's really awesome. I think it's going to be amazing. Lord willing, he heals and wakes up and finds out his charity is like $4 million. So anyways, but yes, so there's a lot to talk about. Well, I know, I'm sure like a million channels have already talked about what's going on with Bryan here, but got some thoughts on it. I felt like there was a case I was going to talk to you guys about, but I forgot. No, I guess not. So I've been, so we know Bryan here. What is with the name Bryan? I don't know. Bryan Laundry, Bryan Idiot here. So we know that he has waived his extradition, and it says that he can be back in Idaho within the next 72 hours. So There was a rumor that he exposed himself to an inmate, a female inmate. That has since been debunked. That's not actually what happened. The guards that have spoke have said, or have, people that have apparently, according to guards, he lays on the floor and really just stares at the wall. So people are saying he's stupid. That he might have book smarts, but that he's not, smart for a crime and stuff. I really think we're underestimating him. I really do. I don't think this was a whim that he just one day woke up and was like, I think I'm going to be I think I'm going to be a killer today. I believe he has planned this fantasy out for a very, very long time, perhaps years. I personally think he has had this planned out for so long that he went to Washington State University, specifically to study under the professor that had in-depth communication with BTK. I really do. I think he is more methodical than people realize. Okay, his lawyer quoted him saying, "This will be a long..." Liberty Farmer. So she has a good point. This is one area. So there are things that were like, that doesn't make sense. I will say, I believe it was interesting fact, 2 or 3 days after, something insane. It was okay. I'm going to admit, somewhere between 1 and 5 days after the murders, he registered the car to Washington. Hey, Remy, I was just thinking about you. So why? Unless he realized, oh crap, there was footage. What if they caught my plates or something? I've got to find that because there is proof of this. I meant to save it, and did I save it? Please tell me I saved it. It was on Twitter, and he did, in fact, register the car days after the murders to Washington. I also want to debunk something. Actually, I can't take any credit for this. Of course I didn't save it. Well, I'll find it and I'll... Yeah, I know, Remy. So I did not do this, but some of my friends who are brilliant did this and debunked. So when I first saw the image of how about I actually get to her page, of the alleged cut on... Hold on, sorry, y'all. I forgot about this that I wanted to show you. On Bryan's hand. Okay, I legitimately thought it was Bryan's hand, but upon further investigation, I don't think it is, and I'll tell you why. Let me just open it up to show you guys. Whoops. How do I get to... Oh, okay. This was actually phenomenally done. I don't know. I just don't have this. Okay. I'm going to show it to you, right? I did not. I have to watch Grace. You got to just get me to the parts of that. So I will say, so I thought for sure the picture, right? I thought for sure that the picture of the car that I saw cut, I'm going to be honest, but so my friends actually did an overlay of where they thought the cuts were and where they would be, if you could see this, on his wrist, based on so the car picture where I thought I saw the cuts, which is the body cam footage, they should be right here on his wrists. And his wrists are, unscathed. Yeah. And then Les broke it down actually into frame by frame, and it's wild. And when I get her permission, I'll see if I can share it, because it is wild. like you can see the shadow develop on her. Oh, here we go. Kathy Joe. When I say friends, it's basically like Kathy Joe, Lindsay Jackson. These that do all like Kathy Joe and Les are really good at this. Supplies him, but some criminals like to push it as far as they can. You know, that's what I'm wondering, Kathy Joe. That's what I'm wondering. Well, no, Rose. There are people that have said he had cuts, and to be quite honest, let me see if I can find the body cam image. Here, hold on. So I don't know if I can zoom in. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, here you go. I'll show you. This is what I originally saw and thought it was. And once I get Les's permission, I'll share the other frame by frame. But if you can see, like where I'm pointing my little arrow, the side of his wrist, I thought it was a cut. I thought it was a cut. I did. I really did. And hey, Sarah, like then, you know, they were looking at it with me, and then Les broke it down frame by frame. Kathy Joe did that overlay, and I'm telling you, then I was like, okay, I guess it's not a cut. And then when Kathy Joe did the overlay, we would have seen that. Like I know that things heal, but we would have seen something there still. Hey, Rhodey gal. Yes, shut up, Cat. Yes, Kathy Joe had to debunk me because I was certain it was a cut too. And then, you know, they go and do all this research, and I was like, okay, whatever. It's actually super helpful, right? Because I'd rather just know than to sit there and think there's a cut. All right, let me get off of that for a second. He does creep you out. So I have to ask you guys a question. The cops were measuring tire tracks in the snow. I'm curious if this guy was. Yeah, so Remy, that's the thing. And what Kathy Joe is saying is very much like, it's almost, so when he told his lawyer, and his lawyer quoted this, he said, before court or anything, he said, this is going to be a long process. Not very often, Kathy Joe. Now, if you were to, like, for me, that tells me he was okay with this happening. Like, because there's several things that are confusing me about him. One thing is, like Les said, parking where he parked. Okay, he committed the murder miles away in Idaho, where the death penalty was reinstated. It doesn't exist in Washington State. And what was the other thing I saw that was like, holy cow? Or something else. Oh, and the insanity plea doesn't exist in Washington or in Idaho. So why? I think so, Sandy, because allegedly they found his DNA in you did? Okay, Les. Thanks. They put, I gotta share them. So let me show you guys this. This is really good. I'm gonna send these all to my she just, why would he do that? You know, like, it doesn't make sense. Unless, and the only thing that does make sense to me is exactly what Kathy Joe and stuff is saying, that it's like he wants to push the envelope, you know, he wants to see how far he can go. And so my thought process is, somebody willing to push it to see how far they can go makes me think that maybe he had already thought about, what if I get caught? Or really, he just didn't care. Oh, yes, by edited, it means she cropped everything else. You didn't have to see anything else. Exactly, Remy. So also, people then are saying, so let's talk about the other thing. Well, first, let me show you guys this. One thing at a time, Parker. One thing at a time. You know, I get all over the place when I get my thoughts. Because I don't want to just, who would have gifted my daughter a membership to, oh, it's a gaming thing. Okay, never mind. I don't want to just, you know, talk about the case in the same way every time. So, okay, here's some pictures. Where's Kate? All right. So look at, now you really see the shadow. And even more there. See how you really can start to see, oh yeah, that's a shadow. So that definitely changed my perspective of it for sure. So do you think it's so? That's awesome, Sarah. Do you think it's that he just doesn't care and he's pushing himself to the, he does want a spectacle. I did say, I asked some of the girls, you know, do you think he's in touch with BTK? And they're like, nah. Yes. So I believe as well, now that I was debunked, it's the shadowing under the bone for sure. Because we know even a cut, right? When a cut heals, you still, I mean, for a good month, a cut by, so here was the thought, okay? The cut would have been right here on his right hand. So I thought, well, the only way that I could see him cutting vertically in a straight line was if he was holding somebody down with the right hand and, you know, trying to reach over to cut the other person. But I said, well, the only way I could see him having the strength to overpower with his left hand is if he's left-handed. But then I found pictures of him. He is, in fact, right-handed when he writes. So there's too much. So the other thing that I saw when I saw him today was he's a lot bigger than I expected. Now, when I say bigger, I don't mean like just because he wasn't, here, let's look at Reddit because they had some good images. Just because he wasn't, 210 pounds, he's still 6 foot tall. Oh, hi, snow remover. Yes, exactly, Remy. That's what I keep saying. It's like a game to him, and it's almost like, yes, Liberty's got a point. It's almost like this game of, it's a game, and that is, to me, the most scary kind of killer, because you don't know how far in advance he's thought these things through. Hey, Jen. Liberty and also picked up, and Kathy Jo, some really good, like, his skin is so smooth, it's almost like he doesn't even have hair. So then there's the possibility of, did he shave, and we're just thinking outside the box. Could it be possible that he shaved his arms or waxed his arm just so that he wouldn't have any type of hair left at the scene? Yeah, right. So, and people go, so here, oh, disclaimer, people are going after hardcore this lawyer. Okay. Perspective, everyone. He is, yes, Remy, she's a public defender. Like, they often don't get choices. Like, it's her job. I'm sure she didn't think, well, I think today I'd love to represent him. Like, how many lawyers have requested to be off cases, public defenders, and the judges make them? Like, it is what it is, but people are doxing her. Like, it's the people going after her. Oh, I just don't get it. I believe he wants the attention and recognition of the other SK have gotten. He idolizes it. Yeah, I agree, Booberry. I agree. Now, make no mistake. Oh yeah, I was going to write it. Make no mistake. Make no mistake, Parker can't remember where she was going with that. 1 second. All right, let's go. I just want to see a couple images. Oh, let's talk about this too really quick. So Kaylee's dad, Steve, is in court, or was he in court today? Because he was going to be in court. So I know that's not a very good picture. I want to find, well, here's him coming out of the thing.
Hey, how you doing? How you feeling?
I mean, y'all, he is taller than I think we realize. I really do. So many lawyers are going to be clamoring for this case. Right? Exactly, Remy. I think he's taller, and we also have to remember he was very much into boxing. Hey, Pamela, very much into boxing, so he had upper body strength, control. We also have to remember that it's likely, yeah, he's 6 foot tall. You're Remy, oh my gosh. It is likely that there was drinking, and I'm not saying, I mean, they were 21, most of them. They were college students, okay? They were half asleep or asleep, is what we've heard. Yeah, Liberty, exactly. So we know the one professor's come out saying he was, brilliant, the best student, all this kind of stuff. That kind of stuff, and Liberty is right, feed somebody's ego like this. Hey, Ava. We have not heard yet from the professor that got close to BTK, correct? Yeah, and I mean, he's 6 foot tall. Okay, so 6'1", 185 pounds with upper body strength. And no, I mean, it's really not that hard to think. So I know Kaylee's dad claims that, that there's connection there, and there might be, but I cannot for the life of me figure out where as far as Kaylee, because the only thing I can figure, and Kaylee worked at a coffee shop, correct? So I did notice one article of his classmates said that he came into class every day. He never had, he was never without coffee. He always had coffee. He always looked exhausted. So my thought was, okay, was that his frequent coffee location? But then I typed in great coffee places, which would have been near him, and there's a ton. So I was like, it doesn't really make that much sense. To be quite honest, when I typed in best vegan restaurants, the place where Maddie and Xana popped up number 2. So yeah, exactly, Sarah. To be quite honest, those 2 girls make the most sense. I do believe Ethan was collateral damage. Ethan was just... Did you, Ava? Yeah. So how do I accuse it? I think the dad thing is interesting. I really do. Oh, so, okay, so the BTK professor there that got close did make a statement that she wasn't making a statement. Okay. So you gotta think to yourself, what causes a... So there's that philosopher that has a quote that if you surround yourself enough by, certain things, you eventually become certain things. I don't really know if that's the case for this guy. It might have, but I think obviously there's been some stuff going on for a long time. So Remy, I still really feel that maybe Kaylee and Ethan were the collateral damage because they were killed in Maddie's room. Because if you remember, to the best of my knowledge, Kaylee didn't have stuff still there. For whatever reason, they were in Maddie's room. But, Kaylee's dad feels very strongly there was a connection. I just feel... So I was trying to look up, how do you say it? Femicide or something? And it, the likelihood, if that's possible, if he had something against, because he had a type, so when you look at Kaylee and Maddie and Xana, there's a type, right? Like, let's be real, there's a type. Blonde, light brown hair. There's a type. Sorority girls. Okay, yeah. So, oh, thanks, Beatlemaniac. There's a type. You can't deny it. So if in fact, but I got to be honest, y'all, looking up his sister, and do not please go after his sister and stuff. His sisters kind of fit the same mold. So could he have some sort of resentment there? Who knows his reasons for these girls. However, I will say that I did watch a forensic, not a forensic, what do you call them? Yeah, psychologist, like a psychologist, I can't remember, profiler type thing. He has two, Sarah. And they said that because he was over the top vegan, like over the top, so much that he wouldn't eat meat out of, or he wouldn't eat out of pans for his aunt and uncle. So his aunt and uncle had to get new pans because he wouldn't eat the meat that came out of, or he would not eat anything that had meat in it at one time, which, so you know what I would have been telling Bryan if I were his aunt and uncle? You know where the store is, so you can hop yourself along to the store and get yourself some new pants. I thought that too, Remy. I thought that too. But it didn't totally make sense because of where he lived and the amount of sororities and stuff right around him. So it didn't totally make sense to me. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Right? But, his parents are still in court. They don't believe he did it. His sisters are still, and look, no one wants to believe your kid's capable of this. No one wants to believe it. I can't remember where I was going there. Oh man, it was good. Oh, so the psychologist said that his OCD about the vegan thing resembles what he would profile in his profession, and this is just his opinion, somebody who's fighting, I know this is bad, cannibalistic urges. Now, I do not believe he did that to these kids. We have obviously no evidence of that, but is this a situation where he wasn't going to, that it could have escalated? I don't know, but they did say the profile, he has the femicide profile with the, shows he's fighting cannibalistic urges. Now the vegan thing, I don't know much about being a vegan, but isn't, like, vegan would be against hurting animals of all kind, right? So in that respect, I could see putting the dog safely in another room. And the other thing is that also shows that he almost valued animals, obviously, more than he valued human life. Is Pointer Lover here? Oh, there's Pointer Lover. Hey, Pointer Lover. So I gotta say, it made sense when he said he's like, because he was over the top about vegan, but he wasn't a vegan his whole life, according to his friends. So what changed? Now, also too, with the cuts, he did have classmates that said he came back to school, like right after he committed murders, and his hands looked fine. I gotta tell you, I believe he had gloves on. I really do. I believe he had gloves. Right. That's true, Kathy Joe. He was overweight as an adolescent. So vegan might have started as a weight loss, because there was a certain time too he was really thin. I understand he was a heroin addict. I don't know. I can't say he wasn't on heroin during this process, but who knows? Yeah, that's possible too, Remy. That's possible as well. There has to be a reason for whatever in his brain, we have to kind of think of a profilers. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but I believe he had a type, and he came across those girls and they fit whatever type in his. Sarah, does it point a lover? And people have said, he had a pretty, well, now he has a calm demeanor. They said he always looked exhausted at classes. So there's people coming forward, right, that knew him 5 years ago and stuff, saying things. I'd be like careful how much you truly believe that, like everything that people that knew him 5 years ago are saying. Let me look up the court thing. So interestingly enough, Remy, mom has blonded. I mean, yeah. Yeah, Sarah, send it to me. Blondish brown hair. I mean, now question, do you think that he drove 2,500 miles with his father and it never came up? Just curious. Trying to find some images of. Well, that's the body cam. I'm assuming everybody here has already seen the body cam, so. Oh, here's a good picture of his whole body. Well, Remy, that's what I think. Oh, that's a good point, Kathy Joe, if he has a sealed juvenile record. They did side-by-sides of him and Ted Bundy, and it's pretty crazy. Now, I also thought, so if you look at the side-by-side of Ted, to myself, holy cow, was he trying to look like Ted Bundy? But most of his pictures in the past, I think his hair is probably similar. But I'm telling you, this guy it's like, to me, this guy is somebody that was obsessed with murder, with crime, look at his research. I mean, has anyone proved that he was researching for an actual project, or was this just him researching? Kate made a good point. All of those questions in that crime thing, like there was like one question that wasn't murder based. Yeah, exactly. Here, let's look at the core. Yeah, they said he's not really saying a word. He came into court. They said he looked at his parents and his family, looked right back. He was, his demeanor was, they said that his mom was crying. The police gave her a tissue, which people were freaking out about. Like, of course they gave the woman a tissue. She didn't do it. People are ridiculous. But so we could see, so I do think he's taller than I thought. Oh, okay, Remy. So they would have, that's what I was wondering. Oh, okay. What else did I want to show you? So also, you know what else is interesting? We don't hear about any girls. Like, has there been any girlfriends that have come forward? So, or is this guy, is part of his bitterness the fact that he never had a girl, or he got rejected by girls that are this type of the sorority girls? It's just, there's so many sororities. What was it about these girls that was it for him? That's what keeps me researching him. True, Remy, exactly. Kind of, yeah, Ava, it's like the woman that said he exposed himself and was debunked. Like, so let's talk about this. Help me think it through. What is it about these girls? Really, Kathy Joe? Okay, so that's good info. So I was gonna say, I did read he got bullied a lot in high school, which, look, it sucks. It's horrible. It's an awful thing. But, several people have made points on these Reddit posts of saying, I was bullied and my murder history is 0 for 0, so, but hey, that's good. Girls bullied him more than other boys. Okay. Did he have a particular incident with somebody that looked like one of the girls? Sarah, you know what? He dated very little, pointer lover. And Sarah, that's actually a really good point, because Kaylee's dad said, well, if he would have known her, he would have never hurt her. Obviously he's going to say that because she was nice to everybody. But if you remember the first part of Kaylee's sisters, where she said she was a mean girl. There are other people that have said Maddie and Kaylee weren't exactly nice all the time. And this is not bashing them. Look, we've all been 21. Okay. Okay. Yes. Who cares? Like, I get it. Do I wish maybe, they're not here, so I can't say for sure, but I'm just saying. And right, Kathy Joe, it could be as simple as one of them reminded of a girl who bullied him, broke his heart. Right, exactly. Every pretty girl had, exactly. So it's, for whatever reason, he met one of those girls, and I still think, and I could be wrong because we won't know yet, that it was possibly at that Greek restaurant. I mean, all you got to do is type in top vegan restaurants, and that's number 2. Um, that's true, Ava. That's true, and I still believe that the only reason the roommates are alive is because I don't think he knew they were there, because allegedly their cars were not there. Another interesting thing. But then I also think, did he try to get in outside and he couldn't? Okay, and he ran out of time. So now I also read, and this is alleged, you guys can tell me if you heard, I think together they fit them over. Oh, he wouldn't have. Get out of here, Ava. Really? I thought it was a vegan restaurant, though. Really, Remy? So I read somewhere, and maybe I had not seen this verified by anyone, that the doors, like to the rooms where the kids were locked from the inside. Has anyone else heard that? That's crazy, Ava. Oh, I do believe he was doing research. I don't think he cared one bit. But something made those girls fit the perfect mold for his research. I mean, he lived in an apartment full of graduate students. Yeah, Beetlejuice. It's possible, pointer lover. It's quite possible he never got any type of response that he wanted to his research project ad. And so he was like, I'm going to take it into my own hands. I do believe that he specifically went to Washington State University to study under that professor. I really do. I mean, I really do. But can anyone else confirm that they've heard that verified, that the doors were locked from the inside of the bedrooms? It is possible. We know that the bedrooms had the lock pads on it, or at least Xana's did. He could easily have clicked the lock as he came out, but I don't know. I had not heard that verified by anyone. So, like, legit. Registering his car to Washington a couple days after the murders, the only thing I can think of is just for that. he was afraid his plates got caught on camera, and so he quickly registered them to Washington. True, Remy. So I was just trying to think through the locking of the door thing. I do think he acted alone. What do y'all think? So 2 questions. 1, do you think he acted alone? And 2, okay, Ava. And 2, oh, I get what you're saying, Ava. Oh, so he would have, right. So he probably was frustrated too with the parameters he had. 2, do you think he ever said anything to his dad? Yeah. I do agree, Pamela. At first, I didn't think so, but now I do. And I'll tell you why I think so is because I was reading, and I'm not saying it was femicide or something, but I was reading that most guys that are like him, regardless of whether or not they're after women or stuff, usually don't want to share the glory of their kill. I think he acted alone and he's semi-creature of habit. And I think I said too much. Yeah. He spoke about it too. Wait, what? Oh, oh, Pamela, I get it. I thought you meant, okay. Nothing to dad yet. Oh, Ava. So do I, Remy. Got you, Pamela. Yeah, this guy, I'm telling you, it's all a game. It's all a game. There's movies about this. This is a game to him. He thinks he's one step ahead. Like, how much smarter? I will say, Kathy Jo did some research on what they would teach and stuff. Now, they're not going to teach you how to get away with a crime. I get that. But I think that it's all like a chess game for him, and he feels like he's ahead of the game. I don't think that he cared if he got caught. I thought so too, Beatlemaniac, and that's what I struggled with. But you have to think about, they were all partying and they were asleep. At least we think they were asleep, at least some of them. I think that he had a lot more strength than we knew. I think that Xana did put up one heck of a fight. And I think Kaylee and Maddie were probably asleep. And I do think that they probably woke up during it. But then I was trying to picture, I gotta tell you, this case, y'all, it does have me looking at my door often in the middle of the night. I try to think, yeah, he's a big angry guy. And then I try to like think in word picture. Okay, so I'm half asleep after a night of partying. And all of a sudden, there's this man stabbing my boyfriend. I think she probably fought, but I think I don't know. I think you're just deoriented or disoriented. Pamela, right. Passed out and asleep are 2 different things. Yeah, it's the ultimate social experiment. Exactly, Ava. And maybe I've just watched too many movies or been in too much true crime, but I believe exactly we've already been his lab rats. So Kathy Jo, unfortunately, was not able to attend. So if you don't know, I've been trying to convince Kathy Jo to get her channel going because her background is incredible. But yeah, she missed the class on how to get away with murder. Yeah, there's pretty good, like, people are pretty certain, and there is some pretty good evidence to back up that he was actually already. I mean, so we can't confirm that, but people have backed it up with some pretty solid explanations. He has not been far from this case. And I remember a profiler saying, if you want to catch the killer, look around the trees and stuff, look at the vigils and things like that when, cops are around or when this case is getting coverage. I think all along he knew he might get caught. But then it also makes me believe, why would he go to Pennsylvania if he knew he was going to get caught? That's the problem. That's the part I don't get. So I also heard allegedly, because we know that Indiana police say they have no record of his arrest, correct? So some FBI profile, or no, that Coffindoffer or whatever her name is, she said that she believes when they were pulled over twice, it's because they were being tailed, that law enforcement was already onto him. I don't know. Wait. Yep, true. True, Pamela. No way. He was watching everything like it. Yeah. Remy, yes, that's what somebody compared it to, like an arsonist. Yep, he was watching everything. Did anyone ever come back with verification that was him at the vigil? I couldn't really, I didn't have an opinion. Moments I saw it, moments I didn't. Yeah, Pamela, I was just thinking that. But do I think he was far away during the vigil? No, I think every day. People have said that he went from being this quiet, like just cool, collected, didn't say much kid, that after he committed the murders, and this is alleged, right, that they said that oh, thank you. It's my Oregon Ducks shirt. I do like the Ducks, but not as much as I like Oklahoma. Like, love Oklahoma. Really, thank you. Thank you, snow remover. That actually tells me a lot then. Really, Ava? Yeah. Exactly, Remy. That's what I was saying. Yeah, so they said like right after he committed the murders, he all of a sudden was like chatting and stuff. I am telling you, this is what scares me about this guy. This was like his like euphoric rush to kill those kids. Like, it's like he wasn't even hiding. And so people said, well, why would his dad come out to Washington? And then, Kate gave me a really good perspective. I mean, that's not that uncommon. You don't want to drive home the 2,500 miles. You bring your dad out or bring somebody out to keep you company. And then I thought, was he trying to implicate his dad? But that wouldn't match up for time. No, Sarah. Well, okay. So I used to live in McKinney, Texas, which is, hey, Allie, Happy New Year's, which was close to Oklahoma, but I know like the entire Oklahoma softball team, and I know several of the football players, and so we would just do a lot with them, and so I just am really diehard Oklahoma fan. We only lived a couple hours from Oklahoma. Yeah, Remy, for sure. Pamela, that is a great question. Oh, right, pointer lover. See, snow remover, I'm really glad you told me that. And Pamela, that's actually a great question when that flight was booked. You know what else is interesting? I'm finding interesting is they haven't mentioned his clothes, have they? So they keep saying they haven't found the murder weapon. The hard part about that is it could be anywhere, right? Like he could have chucked it out his window on the way home, or I don't think that is, but somewhere there's a murder weapon. But I have not heard them once say anything about what he was wearing. No, he either had, wait, some father flew out there because he had heard the news and didn't want him to fly alone due to the risk. That's possible, Allie. I was a Texan. I miss Texas, something awful. I would love to move back to Texas, but my kids, you know, they really like to be around family and stuff, so. Oh, you know, Remy, that actually, that, I think you might be right, because I thought, yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that. Oh, that's cool, Sarah. I thought that I remember them talking about an awards thing. Yeah, Remy. Well, the thing with a car too is, I think so, Pamela. So we haven't heard them mention clothes. So they either have the clothes and they found them as apartment or something, or, I mean, Kate's theory is not off base where he had something. I don't envision, y'all, that he walked in the house with his face showing and everything like that. I just really don't. He could have had something over his clothes. He could have had, I was thinking of the, you know, we see the police officers with the shoe thingies that go over your shoes, because there's no way he did not take off whatever he had on before he left that house, or there would have been blood tracks for days. There's just no way. Not to mention that if he had those clothes that he killed those kids in that car, there would have been blood everywhere. I just really feel strongly about that. So do they have the clothes? So do I, Ava. I've got nothing to implicate his family. I think right now his family is distraught and devastated and trying to process the fact that their son could have done this. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think, Kathy Jo. I think that if we're correct on his personality, somewhere he has this stuff stashed. Where? I don't know. That's what I think, Remy. I think that, like, Kate did some research and she said you can buy like a full hazmat suit for like $12. I don't think, like, part of him with this, with his, with not finding the murder weapon, and if they haven't found the clothes yet or whatever he was wearing, part of me thinks that that might be part of his game. Like, how long until they can find this stuff? And the other thing is, if they hadn't caught him, I think he would have acted again. I do. I think he would have just kept escalating, and that's the scary part. But then there's the other part that makes me think, okay, maybe Kaylee was a target because she was on her way out. Like, did he have to do this because she was leaving? Or, again, yeah, especially after COVID, you're right. I know Kate looked it up and it was like $12 on Amazon. We have to remember too, the weekend before the murders was Parents' Weekend. That's what I'm thinking too, Ava. Is it buried somewhere? So there was also the alleged, let's talk about this, the alleged PA law enforcement link. I'm curious to get your thoughts. That said that the police, like, had all of his pings and he followed the girls everywhere they went. So my issue is that it is pretty difficult to get like data off a phone if you don't have the phone, because I remember, like, with Alexis Gabe, like, they had to piece together her phones in hopes to get pings off of her phone. So I would think they would physically need his phone, and by the time they got his phone, like, I just felt like to trace all the pins and link everything would have been, I don't know, the time didn't fit, but I'm also not law enforcement. they could have been pinging. I don't know. True, Remy. Remy, what coordinates are you talking about? The weapon could be buried or stashed for like. Yep. Wow, Kathy Joe, that's crazy. So do you think that the leak from this so-called Pennsylvania Ellie is factual, or so I believe he stalked them. I mean, I believe he knew, he was definitely familiar with them. You know, if let's say Kaylee was the target, let's just say they found out Kaylee had a connection to him. Let's just throw that out there. It could be possible he didn't know which room she was in, but depends. He was likely issued a phone. That's true, Ava. So somebody posted a big picture of his phone on his lap while he was driving, which, I mean, it didn't, I would think it would be. I guess that didn't strike me as anything odd, but where they're buried? Oh man, I don't know. Is it possible they're buried in Pennsylvania? Could he have gotten the knife and clothes back to Pennsylvania without his dad knowing? It's very possible. Have they released, like, so we know they searched the Pennsylvania home, right? It's also said that the law enforcement was back today taking photos of his apartment, but it's also said that, you know, the defense attorney was there as well, obviously trying to take photos. Yes, at this point, I would say the police have confiscated all of his electronic devices. The hard part is, what if he did a large amount of his research for this crime on like a school issued computer? Even though we might know what even though we might say, well, he was doing that because of this crime, I think it would be harder to like make a case for it if it was on like a school computer or something. Yeah, you gotta have search warrants of I didn't know how hard it was to get data off a phone, to just be allowed to get data off a phone until Kaylee's case. It was insane. You had to get like warrants for the actual phone, and then warrants for the company of the phone, like Apple or whatever, and then a warrant for the app. It was crazy. It was nuts. It took like 2 weeks. That's true, Liberty. That's very true. Wow, Pamela. So what we do know is he's coming back here. But I do think he spoke a lot by saying it's going to be a long process. That gave me the creeps knowing he told his attorney that, because so it could be one of two things. He could just be completely arrogant, trying to make people think that he has everything together and he's going to be exonerated for this, whatever. He didn't do it, right? Because they all didn't do it. Or he's truly thought this all out of, what if I get caught? But I do think that Kathy Joe has a point, and that it's almost like, if we're right about his personality, he wanted to see how far he could get. So let's choose a state that has a death penalty just reinstated in 2018. Let's choose the state that doesn't have an insanity plea, because that's all part of my game. Because if I can get away with it here, or I can play games here, then my research is completed. It's freaking crazy. Oh, Remy, no worries. So Reddit can be, you know, speculation, but there are some truth. I do find some little tidbits in Reddit, more so than I do in 4chan. I can't even literally look at 4chan because I think I'm like anymore, because it's just freaking crazy. But I know this wasn't like, it's not like huge groundbreaking live evidence. But to me, I am more interested in, well, I'm not more interested, but there is a reason and there is a type. So Ava, that was just an FBI profiler, some profiler, psychological profiler, something like a criminal minds dude, said that based on his OCD of the vegan thing, it's typically means he, in that type of personality, is that he's fighting cannibalistic urges. And I was like, really? But with not wanting to eat anything meat would have touched the pan or something. And they had like past cases to back up their profile and theory. So, but I think it's really important to understand this dude. We are going to, obviously, they're going to release the probable cause here soon. I just feel like he's going too easy. He says that he looks forward to coming back to Ohio and being exonerated of his crimes. So I can't figure out if this guy's just arrogant and screwing with everybody and he's really scared out of his mind, or if he's just thought this all through. And that, do I think he'll be exonerated? I don't, but I do think that he has researched ways and stuff, and he's going to try to get himself out of it. I wouldn't mind the scared of the bedroom stopping and I get woke up. Remy. Very true, Ava. My working theory on that is he freaked himself out killing an animal. So that's possible, Liberty. Yes, that's why he said that. Rebellious. Yeah, rebellious. But to me, it's more like interesting. I don't necessarily know. See, that's the thing. Has he said he's innocent? To me, when he says exonerated, if he hasn't flat out said I didn't do it or something, to me that means that exactly, Ava, that I'm looking forward to getting away with it. I mean, he's definitely arrogant. For him to say it's going to be a long, I mean, he's just like, I'm like, you guys are nothing. I'm going to. And you're right, Ava. I believe this is a process. This is a next step in his mind. It's like oh God, can you imagine his notebooks, y'all? If he's written some of this out. Oh my gosh. And this is the other thing. Like, would he have left things in his apartment? Exactly, Ava. Like, would he have left things? And he wants to come back to Idaho because if he can get away with it in the state that he committed it, man, yeah. Like I'm telling you, he's one of those guys that, oh man, I'm telling you, if you think it's easy for this lawyer to represent him, mm-mm. Yes. Wait, that's what Gacy said, Kathy Joe? Oh my gosh. So we've got a Bundy lookalike. He studies under the BTK professor, which I still think is why he went there. And he uses the same exact line as anyone else. But I'm telling you, yeah, Pamela, he wants to see his probable cause because he wants to relish in what he did. Well, guys, that's the thing, Allie. He was a security guard in an elementary school. He went to college for how long in Pennsylvania? I'm just telling you, this guy, like, it's like he escalated, and I don't know. I don't know. I can't believe that Gacy said that. I can't believe this. Wow. Right, Remy. I think he wants to be Perry UK True Crime. Good to see you. Kathy Jo, I'm so glad you said that. Oh my gosh. See, can we all just tell Kathy Jo to get her channel going? That's right. Hey, AG, I've been thinking of you. Yep, exactly, Perry. So, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense. So, he doesn't want to be like Bundy or Gacy. He wants to be better than them. He wants to go back to where he did these things because he's going to get away with it, because he's going to be the Bundy and Gacy or whoever else he studied, or the BTK that got away with it in his mind. I'm so glad you said that. So he's saying these things to, like, wow. God, that's crazy. My mind is blown away. God, I hope I think they do have the evidence. They said they have enough evidence to put him away, but oh my gosh, this is like a movie. He wants to be better than them. Yeah, we've all been harping on, but she's just really good at, she's just really, really good at research. They all are, all of them. Oh, really, Pamela? Exactly, Remy. I think that now that I know that, and that's what the line Gacy used, let's try to find. So, was there a serial killer that said this is going to be a long process? So, we need to focus on that. Everything he says, y'all, we need to see if we can match him to other people, because I want to know just how deep this man's research goes into these crazy people. Yep, if the cannibal thing is true, there's another killer he might have researched. For sure, Perry. He wanted to make a statement and a mark. What movie was really? You're right. Oh my gosh, you guys are freaking. I don't know, Beetle. Was she? You guys, this is why I love my lives where I don't just speak at you. I love talking things through with you, because I wouldn't have known a lot of this. I agree, Remy. I think there's. Oh man, that's crazy. It almost makes you want to know. So the professor that said she's not going to make any statement, like, what was their research like together? So, in a lot of ways, he didn't even like need to reach out to BTK, because he probably knew every single piece of information there was to know on him, because he has probably researched these people for years. It is, Remy. You're right. This is his masterpiece. He created this for years. I think so too, Rebellious. But I do think that the FBI was a little more ahead of him than he thought. And I can't quite figure it out if he messed up somewhere. I'm actually super surprised that he left DNA, and I'm trying to figure out if he didn't think that one of the girls would fight back and one of them did and got under her fingernails, or what. Because if you remember correctly, like, finding random DNA in that house isn't a surprise because it was a party house. But there was something about his DNA that made them certain it was him. And so the only thing I can think of is that maybe it was found under her fingernails or something. I do too, Perry. I do too. But I think that because their cars weren't there, I think that he didn't even know that they were there. Yeah, Remy, we do deep dives. And if you haven't seen any of Melissa Jade's stuff, she has some phenomenal coverage of this case as well. And Kate as well. Remy, did any of the serial killer? That's really Liberty. Sandy, I don't know. I'm starting to think so. There's something in this guy's life that happened that, because I know you could get so ingrained in things, you can start to become desensitized, but this was more than that. Remy, that's a good thing. If he purposefully, this is nuts. Everything was a challenge to him, that's for sure. And that's why I don't think that two people were involved. I don't think he was going to allow that to happen. I really don't. Because if you have a second person involved, that's not one-upping. I don't see it happening. Gosh. But I do feel for his parents, and I hope people take it easy on them. Like when people were saying, I can't believe law enforcement gave her a tissue, like, I can't imagine being his mother. Yeah, Remy, I always get lone wolf for sure. Yeah, I agree, Ellie. I always get confused about the psycho and socio because I can't remember which ones are born with and which ones they say develop, but I do. I do, Perry. I think like Kathy Joe was saying, I think he is overly confident and he thinks that he's going to outsmart everyone because, we do know, and the more his professors say, well, he was the most brilliant in the class. He was brilliant, the best student, all this kind of stuff. It's just to him, it's just one more thing that's like, yeah, I'm going to get away with it. I'm the smartest, all that kind of stuff. It is, Ellie. Like, yeah, Ava, for sure. So Rebellious, their cars weren't at home, and they usually are for whatever reason. I can't remember what it was. And so I think he thought they weren't there, but I also think perhaps the doors to the basement were locked. And I still think he might have tried to get into that outside window because they did make like a really big deal about that one window and that the big one, and that he just ran out of time. Yeah, Remy, that's possible too, Perry, because we don't know who was first. I've seen some creators say that Ethan had to have been first. But I don't think we have enough info yet to determine that. Oh, I like that, Ellie. Psychopaths are dangerous. That's really good. I mean, what do y'all think? Do you think there's enough info to really say who was first? I mean, I just assumed Ethan and Xana were first, but and Ava, that's what I remember. They said the other serial killer that left survivors. Wait, didn't Bundy? 100% Remy. I think it was Les that was saying that. Like, stop telling him he's so smart. Like, stop, because this is feeding him. Yes, I know, Remy. I got you. Um, wow. If he knew Ethan was there, it would be him. That's what I think, Ava. I mean, I don't want to show his family's pictures, his parents' pictures and stuff, but I mean, his sister, They're all blonde. His family, it's just, I mean, yeah, it would be crazy. Kathy Joe. Didn't they say, like, I mean, didn't Ted Bundy basically, wasn't he fairly, like, to the normal common person, would have, like, if you were to meet him, you'd think he's a normal guy, right? Oh, for sure, rebellious. And just his Reddit, if that was really him on Reddit, or, I mean, he's totally screwing with people. That's true, Ava. That's a good point. Because, I mean, people didn't really think that he would have been, that this kid was, I'm going to murder 4 people type of kid. That's what I think, Ellie. So that's kind of been my theory all along, was that um, that Maddie and Kaylee might have heard something and got scared, and so they were calling, and then he just wasn't answering it, so they kept calling just because they were creeped out, they heard something or whatnot. I'm also very curious if he was in the house before they got home and he just was sitting there waiting. There's just so many questions. Do you think that the PC will be pretty redacted? Exactly. Hey, Melissa Jade, I was just talking about your great coverage. It's really hard because people are like, I can see the evil in his eyes. But I think it's hard to say that because we know what he's done or allegedly done. So it's hard to be like, it's hard to have like a non-biased type of. Oh, see you, Remy. Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. I don't know. Melissa J does have a live scheduled for tomorrow night, and she's going to be talking similar about this. Exactly, Melissa. Um, Definitely, too. Like I said, her coverage has been great, and the good thing about her coverage is it's always like pretty scheduled, so you know what's coming up. So yes, definitely catch that, please. And Kate will be doing it. See, the good thing too is Melissa usually does lives like 7:30, and Kate's are always like 9:30. So you can catch it back to back. Inside looking and outside looking was divine. Oh, really? Okay, that's okay, Ellie. Yeah, Ava, I think so too. I do remember. I did hear one FBI guy saying, not for this case, just to pass. He said, we all want to see the PC, but just prepare yourselves to see it, because it's like you want to see it, but then when you see it, you don't realize how horrific something like that can be. But okay, Beatlemaniac drop, Melissa. So I'm gonna hop off here, and like I said, if you can check out Melissa's live tomorrow night, I know it's similar, but it's gonna be really good, and we should know more tomorrow. And I thank you guys. I love talking things through with you. And I'll let you know when Kate's next live is as well. All right, guys. Thank you. She over.